Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Eva. I'm a German living in the UK, and I've been a German tutor for 20 years. I've learned English as a second language, currently learning French as a second language. And today we are talking about 5 things you do to sabotage yourself when learning a language. And on a positive note, I will give you some practical things to take away that you can do differently. And they are all free and hopefully quite easy to implement. So let's get straight into it. Number 1, relying on translating. So I'm gonna say this again. Translating and sort of using translating as a learning method is a theme I always come back to, because one, it's just something that is a human instinct. You want to leave a situation that feels unfamiliar and you want to sort of come back to the comfort of your native language, which is absolutely understandable. And the other thing is that in the UK, in my experience, translating is absolutely a teaching tool that is pushed on students who study for GCSE, and so a lot of people think that's the way to do it. Now, relying on translating really keeps you stuck in English mode. It doesn't bring you, it doesn't help you learn the language. You will never reach that sort of instinctive point of just speaking the language if you keep going back to your native language. Just not going to happen. If at all possible, try and break out of this translation cycle. I've made a video about this a while ago. It's a short, and I think that has some really useful exercises in it, which I strongly encourage you to watch. You can just find that in the description below. Number 2 is trying to learn too much at once, and I'm talking about learning too many words as one, and I'm trying to learn it like overwhelming yourself with grammatical concepts. I think number 1 is true for absolutely every language. You've got thousands of words and you want to cram them in. Some people just take lists of words and just sort of read them over and over and over again, and that's not going to help. It's much more productive to take a small number of words. So I sort of go 5 to 10 a week, depending on how much effort you want to put in. 2 if you really don't want to do much work in between, but 5 to 10 is doable for most people. And then just moving on if you can use these things perfectly. Now, when it comes to grammar, I think different languages are more susceptible to this. I find it as a German teacher, I find that people really overwhelm themselves with trying to get everything perfect, because German has a lot of sort of like nitty-gritty endings, and you can't really have a basic conversation without somebody sort of going, oh, it's not den Schublade, it's die Schublade. And while these people are trying to be helpful and actually having corrections sort of out in the open, having people correct you can be quite helpful, but if you are sort of prone to taking it to heart, it can just feel dejecting, and it feels like you're not really speaking the language when people are just trying to help. So the antidote to that is sort of going, okay, so I have to learn all the articles, all the cases, I have to be a master of everything, and I have to get my adjective endings, right. Oh, German learners, don't we love adjective endings? They are our friends. And when you do that, when you sort of cram your head full of all these details and you try to do it all at once, you're not really getting very far. So we start off really slowly. So if we stay with German articles, with just sort of learning which article goes with which noun, and just getting ourselves comfortable that one, German has 3 different ways of saying the, and 2, that trying to understand which the goes with what kind of noun is just a recipe for madness, and I don't recommend you trying to do it. It's a process, and getting it wrong in the meantime is just part of the journey. And you've basically got 2 choices. You can accept it and enjoy it, or accept it at the very least. You can accept it, or you can just feel that you're bad at German. It's not necessarily true. You're just a beginner. Just a beginner. Glancing back up my list, there are more things that people do to self-sabotage. I've picked 5 for today. If this goes well, I'll make more. So, checking my list, number 3 is avoiding to speak. Now, this really sounds like me stating the obvious. In order to speak a language, you have to speak a language. In the same way that if you wanted to learn, I don't know, to dance, you would have to practice to dance. In order to be able to swim, you need to practice in the shallow pool a little bit, and then you go further and further and further. And the same thing is true for languages. So it was a little bit of a shock when I realized that there are some people who come to German lessons and are so surprised that I encourage them to speak German. It's like, well, I don't speak it yet. Well, yeah, the trick is yet. You are here in my office. This is a safe space. You can try it out. You can make all your mistakes, and I'm here to help you. I'm basically paid to listen to your bad German for you to get the practice in, and so that you're slightly better when you're out in the wild. So speak avoidance is just not helpful. Again, it's understandable, because of course we want to be competent as adult learners. Of course we struggle with the fact that we're going to sound pretty basic, and that we don't sound anywhere near as sophisticated as we do in our native language. That's normal. That's part of what being a beginner is. When you were starting to learn your native language, you sounded very basic, and we're going to have to do the same thing again. Sort of, the tree is green, the flower is pretty. That's part of learning the language. Everybody has to go through it, and you're no exception. So if you want to get good at a language, you do need to find a way to speak. Before we move on from that, really there is like a physiological reason for this. Language is something that you do. It's a physical skill, and you do need muscles for it. Of course you need to make connections in your brain, but a lot of language learning is just physically like your muscles in your throat and your mouth moving. If you're learning a foreign language, you are going to have to make those sounds. So, for example, from my sort of day-to-day practice, if you are a German learner who is English as their native language, you will have to make the German R sound, which is a little bit more pronounced than the English R, especially the British English R. So instead of saying like Mutter or the Eltern, where you really sort of hear the R, English doesn't really have that. The English R is very, very slight. So you have to teach your body to do the sounds. And there is a good way to do it. You can sort of start off by just speaking to yourself, but speaking you must. You're not going to be able to suddenly just flick a switch and start talking. That rarely happens. Number 4 is creating a sort of I'm bad at languages narrative, or a self-fulfilling prophecy. Lots of people who come to me sort of come, oh, I'm not really good at learning languages. I've been I've been trying for years, and it's just not going very well. I guess I'm just bad at languages, and that's, I mean, that narrative is sometimes part of the problem, because the stories you tell yourself, you believe. This is also known as a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I have made videos about self-fulfilling prophecies in language learning before. They can be really, really damaging and limiting, and essentially they will hold you back for so much, and yikes. Number 5 on the list of things that keep you stuck when learning a language is keeping the learning process too academic. So again, this is really something that we've sort of associated with learning. People associate a certain amount of pain with learning. People associate that learning cannot be fun, learning cannot be something that you enjoy, and that's, when you're learning a language, that's just wrong. I always say languages are one of the most fun things you can do. You absolutely can, and you should do things you enjoy in your chosen language and learn automatically without thinking. This is very much how I work. This is the philosophy behind London Language Hub, really, is learn through joy, learn through good experiences. So find something you enjoy and do that in your language. Okay, so, and as I said, we always want to end on a positive note. So what can you do to stop the self-sabotage? Number 1, I'm a huge fan of small, manageable, realistic habits. And again, it doesn't have to happen all at once. Just find little pockets in your day where you can learn languages, and even if you're really busy, you'll be able to make progress. So here are some things. So when you're traveling, you could when you're commuting to work, you can watch a little program, you can listen to a news podcast, you can listen to a learning podcast. News podcast really is a little bit more advanced, unless you're doing slow news. You can introduce little vocabulary blitzes. So always, like I said earlier in the video, I recommend having some sort of vocabulary that you work on every week. Big fan of spaced repetitions and physical flashcards. That's another story. But however you review your vocab, just do it throughout the day. Find a good habit after breakfast, before you go for a run, or you could listen to your vocabulary on your own. Don't do that. I mean, you can record yourself, which is actually a really good trick for language learning, recording yourself, listening back to it. You could set your phone to your target language. You can find a YouTube channel or an Instagram account of something that you're interested in your language to sort of help with the immersion. So, for example, again, targeting this for German learners, but if you like football, you could follow a Bundesliga team. One of the things I always say to my football math students, I always want to say my boys, so I have football math girls, so is pick yourself a Bundesliga team. Pick yourself a Bundesliga team, follow them on Instagram, and just adopt them as your sort of German team. Then number 2 is adopt a growth mindset. Growth mindset, I think I've also done a video about it. If I've made one, I will find it and I will link it in the description. Growth mindset, very quickly, it's a hugely beneficial brain hack that just sort of trains you to think differently about your own sort of successes and achievements. Basically, we're going from I can't do this to I can't do this yet. I'm not good at this, I'm not good at this yet. Yet is a really, really powerful way here. There's a little bit more to the growth mindset, and I do strongly encourage you to read into it. I might even make a video about the growth mindset, but I'm still figuring out how to keep the sort of language sessions a little bit more fun and entertaining. And number 3, find a speaking opportunity. Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm sure I'm going to say this many times. Find a speaking opportunity. Find yourself either a language tandem, but there's some caveats with this. Find yourself a conversation group. If you're in London, check out our conversation groups. If you've got family in your target language, talk to your family. Make them work for you. That's all we've got time for today. I hope you found this video useful and entertaining. If you did, I would love it if you liked it, left me a comment, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. If you hate ad reads in the middle of videos as much as I do, you can buy me a coffee to save me from YouTube sponsors. See you next time.